ॐ भूर्भुवः स्वः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Namaste, my dear friends. This video is for second day of Sree Guru Charitra Parayana. That is, these are 10, 12 chapters to be read on second day, that is on Friday. It starts with chapter number 10 and completes with chapter number 21. So chapter 10. Vallabhe saved from thieves. Namdharak, please tell me the next birth incarnation of Sripad Sree Vallabha, Sree Siddha. Sripad Sree Vallabha had many incarnations, all possessed the omnipotence of Sree Narayana. Devotion of Sree Guru is never futile. Sree Guru never disappoints his disciples. Therefore, serve him from your heart. I shall narrate to you one tale as an illustration. Vallabhes, a righteous Brahmin, was doing business. He used to go to Sripad Sree Vallabha Padukas at Kurwarpur every year. Once he declared that if he made good business, he would feed 1,000 Brahmins at Kurwarpur. Fortunately, he earned good profit. He always recited Sree Guru's name. He started for Kurwarpur with good money. Knowing this, some thieves also accompanied him. After 2 or 3 days, one night, the thieves killed the Brahmin when he was asleep and wanted to take away all his money. In the meantime, Sripad Sree Vallabha, with locks of hair on his head and Trishul and Khatwang in his hands, appeared on the scene. He killed 3 thieves, but one who surrendered himself, saying, I am innocent. I did not know that these 3 persons would kill the Brahmin. You are omniscient. Kindly save me. Hearing his prayer, Sripad Muni told him to rub the vibhuti and chanted ashes all over the body of the Brahmin. As soon as the enchanted vibhuti was applied to the Brahmin's body, he woke up. It was dawn when Sripad Muni disappeared from the place. Vallabhes asked the person sitting by his side, Why have you held me? Who has killed these men? The person replied, A great ascetic had come here. He killed these thieves with his trishul. He saved me for you. He asked me to rub and chanted vibhuti to your body. He woke you up. Who he woke you and made you sit by his hands. He had just disappeared. He might be the great god Sri Shiva. Hearing this, the Brahmin realized that all this has been done by Sri Guru Sripad Sree Vallabh. Taking the amount from the thieves, he went to Kurwarpur. He worshipped the Padukas, put symbol of Sri Guru with a great devotion, and fed about 4,000 Brahmins. O Namdharak, though Sripad Sree Vallabha has disappeared, he still comes to protect his devotees. Chapter 10 is completed. Chapter 11. Birth of Sri Narsimha Saraswati. An account of a Brahmani has been given in the 8th chapter. She was worshipping Sri Shankar devotedly in the evening on Shani Pardos, 12th day of a fortnight falling on Saturday. She died in course of time and took the next birth in a Brahmin family at Karanjia in Bidar. Her name was Amba Bhavani. She was married to a Brahmin youth Madhava, who was also a devotee of Sri Shiva. As per her nature of the previous birth, Amba Bhavani worshipped Sri Shiva along with her husband devotedly. She became pregnant when she was 16 years old. Customary ceremonies were performed in the third and fifth month. She used to have good desires. She advised people with high principles, file, filing of OT, putting of corn, coconut, etc. in the open side of the sari worn by a woman in the seventh month, and Srimanti was also observed. After completing 9 months, a son was born to her. The baby uttered Om from the very birth. People wondered to see this. The astrologers foretold he will be a great ascetic and Jagat Guru. He will not marry but will be known and revered all over the earth. Being an incarnation of God, He will wipe off all your miseries and fulfill your desires. The parents of the child were very much pleased to hear this, and they gave money and clothes to Brahmins in order that the baby may not suffer from the evil eye of any person. Lemon and salt were waved on him and thrown away. He was named Sali Gramdev, but his pet name was Narhari. He was later publicly known as Narsimha Saraswati. One day Amba told her husband that there was not sufficient milk in her breast for their baby. So let us have a feeding nurse or a sheep. Hearing this, the baby smiled and just touched the right pap of its mother. Immediately milk sprang out in 32 teats and her clothes became wet. Knowing thus that the baby was an incarnation of God, the parents bowed to him. The mother put the baby in a cradle and sang lullaby songs, but the baby would prefer to lay down on the floor and play cheerfully. The child became an year old, but it did not utter any other words except Om. The parents were anxious to see that the child speaks other words also. As days passed on, they were afraid of his being dumb. Some would say he has all the knowledge, but purposely he does not speak. The child became 7 years old. The parents could not know how to celebrate his thread ceremony. As they were Brahmins, the thread ceremony was most essential. They worshipped Gauri, observed Pradosh and other fasts, but they were of no avail. They were now anxious to know how to make the child recite Gayatri mantra, the mantra in prayer of the sun god, which a Brahmin boy learns at the time of his thread ceremony. Seeing the parents in dejected mood, the son would approach them and try to console them. Once he held an iron bar in his hand, and instantly it was turned into a gold bar. Seeing this, the parents were astonished. They gave him some more iron, and that too was turned into gold. Then the parents asked the son when and how he would speak. He moved his hand around his chest and loin and expressed that when the sacred thread would be worn and nun's grass would be tied around his loin, he would speak. The parents were much pleased and they started enthusiastically the preparations for his thread ceremony. Still, some doubted the success of the function. The parents invited all the relatives, friends, and learned Brahmins for the function. The ceremony started on the first day, Chawl shaving the hair on the head, and dinner took place. Next day, after the bath of the boy, the sacred thread was put on his left shoulder. The boy dined with his mother and other boys of his age. The father then uttered Gayatri Mantra in the ears of the boy Narhari, who recited it in his mind. The mother then came with alms. After offering the first alms, the mother asked the boy to recite Rig Veda, the first of the four Vedas. Narhari recited Agni, Mile, etc. After giving the second alms, the mother asked to recite Yajurveda. Narhari recite Yajurveda, Isveta, etc. After the third alms, Narhari recited Agna Ayahi from Samaveda, the third Veda. Thus people realized that Narhari had the knowledge of all the Vedas and they all bowed to him with reverence. Narhari then said to his mother, "You have asked me to beg for alms. I would therefore live on begging, so allow me to go to visit the holy places." Hearing this, the parents were much aggrieved. The mother fell on the ground senseless. After recouping, she said, "We expected that you would take out care. So far, due to our misfortune, you were not speaking. Now, seeing that you can speak, we are much delighted and we think that our devotion to God has been fruitful. But now you are talking of leaving us, and this makes us very uneasy." Narhari said, "You need not be sorry. You shall have four sons, and they will look after you very obediently." So saying, he placed his palm over her head. She instantly recollected her previous life and saw Sripad Sri Vallabha standing before her. She bowed to him humbly. Narhari raised her head and said, "Mother, keep this a secret. We sannyasis keep ourselves aloof from family life. As I have to do my mission, please allow me to go." Mother: "Dear son, do not go leaving us alone. No religion asks one to be an ascetic in such a tender age. You should have brahmacharya for 12 years. The second is grihasthashram, the most important in all the four ashrams. After going through the third ashram, which Vanprasthashram, one becomes liable for the fourth ashram, which sannyasashram. So say the Shastra. So study Vedas in the Brahmacharya ashram. Later on, get yourself married and have the pleasures of the family life. Then perform sacrifices and thereafter become a sannyasi. But it is not desirable to be a sannyasi in the childhood. Chapter number 11 is completed. Chapter 12, Narhari becomes Sri Narsimha Saraswati. Narhari said, "This body is perishable. What is its guarantee? So long one has sound body, one should act virtuously. Your advice is for them who have won victory over death. They can say they will follow religion later. So one should do religious deeds in the childhood. There are three stages of life: the childhood, the youth, and the old age. But it is not certain when one will die. Yamraj, god of death, is counting every moment of man's life, day and night, knowing that the life is running fast. Those who do not lead religious and virtuous life are like beasts. House, property, wife, children, mother, nothing is eternal. Old age kills a man just as a crocodile devours him. Therefore, the wise man should do virtuous deeds in young age. Why do you then prevent me from going? This life is like a dream. As a power as a power dries in air, the body of a man is getting more and more dry day by day. This body may perish in a moment. Mother, dear child, you are advising me. You told me that I would have 4 sons. So you should stay with me till I have at least one son. If you go disregarding my request, I would give up my life instantly. Narhari smiled and said, "What I have said will not be otherwise. However, after you get 2 sons, let me go. Then I shall not stay here. I promise to stay here for 1 year." Thus Narhari lived there happily. All people wondered to see that a boy of 7 knows all the Vedas and can teach the same. Crown up learned persons also came to him to learn Vedas and Shastras. His mother became pregnant. After 9 months, she gave birth to 2 handsome sons. The parents were glad to have 2 more sons. By the end of 1 year, the 2 babies became 3 months old. Narhari told his mother that her desire was fulfilled. She would get 2 more sons and they will all live happily. She would now permit him to live as per sannyasa dharma. The parents bowed to Narhari and said, "You are our family god. We cannot say anything before you. Please forgive us if we have spoken any harsh words. Thinking you to be our son, our devotion to Sri Shankar has materialized. You made us glorious. When shall we see you again?" Narhari, I shall be before you whenever you remember me. You will have 1 daughter and 2 more sons. You will have no miseries, and in the end you will attain the best place in Parlok. I have now to proceed to Badri Narayan to meet Siddhu. So please allow me to go. The parents, males and females of the town, walked with Narhari. Some said, "See how a brahmachari is going for penance. He is an incarnation of God. As at such tender age of only 7, how can he know all the 4 Vedas?" All others bowed to him and returned. The parents still followed Sri Narhari, who then appeared before them in the form of Sri Pad Sri Vallabha. The parents put their heads on his feet and then Narhari immediately went away. Narhari started for Badri Narayan. On the way he reached the holy Kasi. He did penance here and saw the Visveswar. He also practiced here all the kinds of yogas. Many sannyasis also observed penance at this holy place. Narhari showed great proficiency in yoga. Many sannyasis came to see him. There had been one old sannyasi named Krishna Saraswati who had realized Burma. He also showed respect for Narhari. He said to all the sannyasis, he is not an ordinary human being, but he is an incarnation of God and deserves respect from all. Let us request him to be a sannyasi and bless the people. Accordingly, all went to him and said, it will be better if you now accept sannyas diksha as per religious rules and accept worship and respect from us and favor us with your blessings. Sannyasis are despised in this Kali Yuga. Though there are different means of devotion, sannyas in particular is dishonored. Sri Shankaracharya rejuvenated sannyasa dharma in the 7th century, but now Kali being more influential, the sannyas is being degenerated, so you please rejuvenate it. Narhari conceded to the request and accepted sannyasa diksha from Sri Krishna Saraswati. Namdharak interrupted when Narhari himself was Sree Guru Dattatreya incarnate. Why did he have another Guru? Sri Siddha. In former days, Vasishtha was the Guru of Sri Ram and Sandeepani was the Guru of Sri Krishna. In the same way, Krishna Saraswati became Guru of Narhari and hereafter he was known as Sri Narsimha Saraswati. In human life, human customs are to be followed, and so Narhari approached the well-known aged Yati sannyasi Krishna Saraswati and accepted him as his Guru. Sri Shankar is the first Guru, Sri Vishnu the second, Brahmadev is the third. After these followed Vasishtha, Parashara and Vyasa, who was the incarnation of Sri Vishnu. Thereafter, Shuka, Gaudapada, Govinda Guru, Shankaracharya, Vesavaruparya, Dhyana Bodh, Giriraj, Iswara Tirath and Bharati Tirath succeeded one after the other. Thereafter, Vidyarnaya, Sripad Mani, Vidya Tirath, Malinan Dev Tirath, Saraswati Tirath, Saraswati Yadavendra and his disciple was Krishna Saraswati. Such is the line of succession of Gurus. Sri Guru Narsimha Saraswati was very much respected in Kansi for his deep knowledge of the Vedas. After some time, Sri Guru went to Badri Narayan with many followers, taking a round of the Marugiri and seeing the holy places of Navakhand. Sri Guru came to Ganga Sagar. He then went by the bank of Ganga and came to Prayag. A learned Brahmin Madhav saw him there. Sri Guru initiated him with sannyas and named him Madhav Saraswati. Later on, Sri Guru had many more followers. Chapter 12 is completed. Chapter 13. Brahmins colic pain subsided. Namdharak Gurudev Sri Guru initiated sannyas to Madhav at Pariyag. Please let me know what occurred later. Siddha Sri Guru lived at Pariyag for some days. He had many disciples there. These included Bal Saraswati, Krishna Saraswati, Upendra Saraswati, Madhav Saraswati, Sadanand Saraswati, Dhyan Jyoti Saraswati, and myself as 7 chief disciples. He then visited holy places in the south and came to Karanjhim. He was invited door to door. The mother recollected that he was Sripad Sri Vallabha and called herself unfortunate. She told this to her husband when both requested him to liberate them from the worldly sea. Sri Guru said, If a person accepts sannyas, his 42 generations, 21 parental and 21 maternal are liberated. Their issues have no fear of the god of death. You will see that your sons live 400 years. Then you will go to Kasi, the holy place of liberation. There is no doubt about this. Ratnai, his sister, requested his Sree Guru, I am entangled in a family trap. Please take me out of this. I wish to do penance. Sree Guru, serve your husband and this will liberate you. One has to suffer as per one's fate. Females can win over this worldly sea only with the help of their husbands. Thinking the husband to be Sri Shiva, serve him. This is what the Vedas, Shastras, and Puranas dictate. She further asked, you know the past and the future also. Please tell me what is my future, Sri Guru. In the previous birth, you hit a cow with your legs. You made the neighboring couples quarrel among us themselves, so you will develop leprosy for hitting the cow, and your husband will leave you and be a sannyasi. Hearing Guru, you shall live amicably for some years. In old age, your husband will accept sannyasa. When you have leprosy, you will see me. You come to Pavani Papvinasi on the bank of the Bhima river in the south. Nearby is the Bhima Amraja Sangam and Gangapur. After bathing in the Papvinasi, you will be cured of leprosy. Sri Guru then went to Tambakeshwar, the place of penance of Gautam Muni. Sri Shankar was pleased by the penance of Gautam, who brought Ganga Godavari on the earth for the benefit of the people. Sri Guru travelled by the bank of Godavari and came to Manjrika. A learned Brahmin, Madhvarayana, lived here. He adored Narsimha. Seeing that Sri Guru appeared just a Narsimha, he bowed to him and praised him in Sanskrit. Sri Guru was pleased and he appeared before him in his divine form. Madhav Narayana prostrated before him and chanted prayers. Sri Guru then blessed him. Sri Guru then went to Brahmeshwar. Here a Brahmin suffered from acute colic pain. He was rolling in the sand of the river due to severe pain. He had to be on fast for several days. Whenever he dined, he had severe pain. He was intending to give up his life by drowning himself in the river and thus getting rid of the acute colic pain. Knowing his intention, Sri Guru asked his disciples to bring the Brahmin to him. When he was brought before him, Sri Guru asked him, why are you committing suicide? This is a great sin. What is your misery? Brahmin, I am burdensome on this earth. I dine once in a fortnight or a month, but I have to bear a very severe colic pain. The body lives on food, and if food cannot be taken, how can this body survive? Sri Guru, I shall give a medicine. You have a full meal today. The Brahmin was much encouraged with Sri Guru's words. In the meanwhile, the officer of the town came to the river for bath. Seeing Sri Guru, he bowed to him with reverence. Sri Guru inquired, may I know your name and whereabouts? The officer said, I belong to Kondinya Gotra and am a Brahmin of Appastamb Shakha. My name is Shamadev. I come from Kanchi. I am serving here as a town officer of a Muslim ruler for 1 year. I feel myself very fortunate to see thy holy self today. Sins are wiped off by seeing the Ganga. Heat of the body subsides by seeing the moon, and poverty is destroyed by the favor of a kalpatru. But by seeing thyself along, all these three miseries are wiped off, and one gets all the four values. Shamdev humbly expressed Gurudev he dined yesterday after 1 month and subsequently he had severe colic pain. If he is given food today and if he dies, shall I not be held responsible for his death? Sree Guru, I am giving medicine which should be fried in ghee and given to him. Besides, give him food containing sugar and milk. Do not have any doubt in the mind. Shamdev agreed and further requested Sree Guru to grace his home by his presence and accept alms at his house. Sree Guru gladly accepted his invitation. Sree Guru, three Brahmins and other disciples came to Shamdev. Shamdev's wife Jakhai was a devoted wife. Both worshipped Sree Guru ceremoniously. They worshipped the disciples also. All had a happy dinner that day. The colic pain of the Brahmin disappeared instantly by the grace of Sree Guru. All were wonderstruck to see this miracle. Sree Guru blessed Shamdev, saying, your family will flourish and devotion of Guru will be continued in the later generations of your family. Chapter number 13 completed. Next chapter 14 will start. Chapter 14 Muslim king favors Shamdev. Shamdev bowed to Sree Guru and said, Gurudev, though you are Trimurti incarnate, due to our ignorance, you appear to us as a human being. In truth, you are all pervading. It is beyond our intellect to describe your greatness. I am the servant of a Muslim king who is very cruel. He invites a Brahmin every year and kills him. He has invited me today. If I go to him, he will kill me. But as I have now seen your holy, how can he dare to kill me? Sree Guru placed his palm on his head and said, you do not care a bit. You go to the king fearlessly, he will receive you well and send you back to me. Have faith in my words. I am here till you return and then I shall proceed further. You have been my devotee, you will live happily and have lasting wealth. Shamdev went to the cruel Muslim king. He was recited. He was reciting Sree Guru's name. All the time. As soon as the king saw Shamdev, he turned his face and went inside. Shamdev said to himself, what harm a cruel king can do to one who is blessed by Sree Guru? How can a serpent bite the kids of a grud? How can an elephant kill a lion? A devotee of Sree Guru has no fear even from death. The Muslim king felt drowsy and had a sound sleep. He saw in a dream that a Brahmin was beating him. When he awoke and came outside, he saw Shamdev. He came to him, fell at his feet and said, you are my master who called you here. You can go back happily. Saying this, he offered clothes and ornaments to Shamdev. Shamdev soon returned to his place. He first went to see Sree Guru on the bank of the river. He bowed to Sree Guru and reported what had happened. Sree Guru again blessed him and said that he would now proceed southwards. Shamdev folded his hands and said, "Now I shall not leave these feet. I shall also come with you. You only can liberate us from this worldly sea." Sagar brought the Ganga on his earth for the liberation of his forefathers. In the same way, you have descended on the earth for our liberation. Sree Guru, I am going southwards for certain purpose. You shall again see me after 15 years. I shall be then staying near your place. You should then come to me with your family and children. You should live without worry. All your miseries and wants are wiped off now. Shamdev offered clothes and ornaments to Sree Guru. Sree Guru came to Arogya Bhavan, Vaidyanath, and lived there secretly. Chapter number 14 is completed, and chapter number 15 will start. Chapter 15, Principal Holy Places of Bharat. Sree Guru lived at Arogya Bhavani secretly because many persons approached him at any time. These included the good and bad, honest and dishonest, cunning, rich and poor, diseased, men of all castes, sects and ages. Parshurama killed Kartikeya Arjuna and gave the earth in charity to the Brahmins. Still the Brahmins approached him and asked for more. So Parshurama lived in the sea secretly. Similarly, Sree Guru sent all his disciples on pilgrimage and himself lived secretly. The disciples asked Gurudev, "Why are you indifferent with us? Vedas and Shastras say that all the holy places are at thy feet. When Kalpatru is near us, why should we go elsewhere?" Sri Guru, as you are sannyasis, you should visit different holy places and make your mind firm. I shall go to Sri Selya in Bahudhanya Sanvatsar. You should come and see me there. The disciples, one disobeying Sri Guru has to go to hell. So we go to the holy places as per your instructions. But kindly tell us to which places we should go. Sri Guru, Kasi is a famous holy place on earth. It is on the bank of Bhagirathi Ganga. You travel 60 yojan 2 miles by its bank and observe 60 Krishna Prayaschitas. Then go to Parayan, Allahabad and observe 120 Khirchras. There are 25 gram town on the bank of Yamuna and 40 on the bank of Saraswati. Take bath in the river daily. This is like performing a sacrifice. One attains Brahma in the end. Travel by the tank of rivers as Varuna, Kushavarti, Krishnaveni, Vitasta, Saraswati, Marudravidha, Asikni, Madhumati, Payasvini, Grihavati, Devanadi, etc. At every place take bath and prayaschitta. Even sin of Brahmhatya is wiped off. Travel by the banks of Chandrabhaga, Revati, Saryu, Gautami, Vedika, Kaushiki, Mandakini, Sahasravakra, Purna, Bahuda, Aruna, Bath at a Sangam confluence of rivers is like that of Parayan. There are other holy places as Pushkar, Varochani, Falgu, Tirth at Gaya, Setubandha, Rameswar, Sri Ranga, Padmanabh, Purushottam, Naimisaranya, Badri Narayana, Kurukshetra, Sri Shailya, Pitru Tirath, Kedar, Koti, Narmada, Matrukeswar, Kunj, Kokamukhi, Prabhas, Gokarna, Shankhakarna, Ayodhya, Mathura, Kanchi, Dwarka, Gaya, Saligram, and Sambalgrama are the seven cities giving liberation. Traveling by the bank of Godavari gives fruit of doing Vajpaya sacrifice. Visit Bhimeswar, Vajrasangam, and Kush. Travel by the bank of Purana, Krishnaveni, Tungabhadra, Bhima. Visit Pampa Sarovar, Harihar, Pandharpur, Matruling, Gangapur near Bhima, Amraja Sangam. There is an Aswatha on the Amraja, and in the north is Varanasi, in the east are Pap Vinasi, Rudrapad, Chakra Tirath, Keshav Desh, Vinak, Koti Tirath, Mamat, Kal, Kalvashwar, See Varda Malprabha Sangam, and Nivarti Sangam. When the Guru Jupiter is in the Singha, Levo, all the rivers have union with Bhagirathi. When Guru is in Kanya, Vibro, Bhagirathi comes in Krishna, have bath in Patal Ganga and see Mallikarjuna. Baths at Kaveri, Sangam, Paiswini, and Bhavnasini are virtuous. See places like Samudra Kanda, Sheshadri, Sri Ranganath, Padamnabh, Srimat Anant, Trimanala, Kumbhakonam, Kanyakumari, Matsya Tirath, Paksha Tirath, Rameswar, Dhanuskoti, Malla Kasmini, at Kolhapur, Mahabaleshwar, origin of Krishna, Bahe, Narsindev at Kolegaon, Bhubaneswari at Bhilwadi, Sirupali, Chaya Bhagwati, Visavnatha's place, Sweta, Sring, Vance, Cranes flows northwards, Kalyan, etc. A river is said to be in Menses when she gets new rainwater, and so bath in the river is not desirable on that day. All the disciples then bowed to Sree Guru and departed for visiting the various holy places. Chapter number 15 completed. Next chapter will be chapter number 16. Chapter 16. Greatness of Sree Guru. Naam Dharak. When all the disciples went away on the pilgrimage, who served Sree Guru? Siddha, I was in a zone of delusion. But your question has given rise to the son of knowledge. Sree Guru's life is like Kamdhenu. Sree Guru lived secretly at Arogya Bhavani near Vajnath. I was with this time. I was with him this time. A Brahmin came to Sree Guru, praised him, and said humbly, I am doing penance, but my mind has not become still. I am greatly appeased to see you. Kindly tell me means to attain knowledge and liberate me. The Brahmin further said, Gurudev, I had a guru. He used harsh words and asked me to do undesirable service. He did not teach me logic, grammar, bhasha, etc. He said that my mind is not still, so I left him in anger. Sree Guru, you are a fool, harming yourself and treacherous to Guru. You speak ill of Guru. How can you have knowledge? Why did you come to me, leaving Guru, who is a Kamdhenu? By pleasing the Guru, by service and giving respect to him, one can know Vedas, Shastras, and 8 Siddhis, a boon to do particular miracles. The Brahmin placed his head on the feet of Sree Guru and asked Gurudev, kindly tell me who is a Guru and how to serve him. Sree Guru, mother and father are Gurus. Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara are Gurus. One serves his Guru with devotion. I narrate to you a tale in this connection. Dhaumya Rishi lived at Dhavan, Dhavaravati. He had 3 disciples, Aruni, Ved, and Upmanyu. In former times, the Guru tested his disciples before giving knowledge to them. Dhaumya said to Aruni, go to my field and fill it with canal water. Aruni went to the field. The canal water was flowing with great force. Paddy was sown in the field, which was on higher land than the level of the water. He placed stones to divert the water to the field. He then laid his body across the canal, and thus half the flow of water entered the field. Even by sunset, as Aruni did not return, Dhaumya went to his field and called him loudly. He feared a serpent might have bitten or a tiger might have attacked him. Hearing the Guru's voice, Aruni came out of the canal and bowed to the Guru and stood near him. Dhaumya embraced with pleasure and blessed him, saying, you will know all Vidyas, go home, get married and live happily. Dhaumya then said to Ved, go to the field, keep watch on the crop, and when it is reaped, bring it home. Ved accordingly went to the field and kept the watch day and night. When the crop was reaped, a cart with 1 buffalo was given to him. Ved placed the corn in the cart, yoked the buffalo on one side of the yoke, and he himself pulled the cart on the other side. He could not draw the cart with the buffalo, still he drove it with much strength. The buffalo got stuck in the mud and could not go forward, so he alone drew the heavy cart. Subsequently, his neck was strangled and he had to face great strain. In the meantime, Dhaumya came there and released him from the yoke. He embraced Ved and said, you know Vedas and Shastras well. The third disciple of Manu was fat and dull. Dhaumya asked him to take the cattle for grazing the forest. Upmanyu took the cattle to graze. At times, being hungry, he would return early from the forest. The Guru told him not to come from the forest till sunset. The cattle would graze on the bank of a river. Upmanyu would bathe, take alms from the Brahmins living nearby. Thus he satisfied his hunger. One day the Guru asked him, how are you living? He said that he took alms and dined. Guru said, how do you dine without us? Give the alms in the ashram and again go to the forest. Upmanyu acted as directed by the Guru. He would give the alms in the ashram, but as he did not get full meals at the ashram, he again took alms from some Brahmin houses and satisfied his hunger. When the Guru knew this, he angrily said, give both the alms in the ashram. As directed, he gave both the alms in the ashram. He was anxious now how to satisfy his hunger. He saw the cows drinking milk of cows, and much milk fell on the ground and was wasted. He held that milk in his hands and drank it. After some days, the Guru asked him how he was fed. He said that he drank the milk that fell while the calves drank the milk from the cows. The Guru said, "You should not drink milk tasted by cows, as this milk makes you dull." While remaining in the forest, he saw milk-like paste coming out of the rui plant. He held the milk in leaves, and while he was drinking it, some drops thereof entered his eyes. Subsequently, he lost his eyesight and became blind. Now he thought the Guru would be angry with him. He began to collect the cattle, but as he could not see, he fell in a well. When Dhomis knew that Upmanyu did not return by the evening, he went to the forest and called him loudly. Upmanyu responded from the well and informed him about his whereabouts. Dhomya came near the well and said to him with sympathy, "Recite Aswani Kumar mantra." After doing that, he got back his eyesight. He came out of the well, bowed to his Guru and stood by him. Dhomya placed his palm on his head, and instantly he had all the knowledge. Dhomya said to him, "Go home, get married and live happily. You will be well known. One of your disciples, Utank, will bring kundal, ear ornament, and win the sheesh. He will advise King Janmejaya to perform sacrifice to the serpents and kill all the serpents in the sacrifice." As stated, Utank caused Janmejaya to perform the sacrifice, in which even Indra had to come down along with Takshak, the king of serpents. This is all due to the greatness of Guru. He will liberate you. You should try to please him. The Brahmin said, "Gurudev, you have given me the right advice. As I have offended my Guru, how can I please him now? It is very difficult to appease the wounded heart. I would therefore leave this worthless body of mine." Saying this, he bowed to Sree Guru. Sree Guru realized his repentance, and knowing his desires, Sree Guru said, "All your sins are wiped off now. Remember your Guru." The Brahmin folded his hands and prayed, "You are the Guru of all the world and incarnation of three great gods. How can there be darkness after the rise of the sun? You please protect me." Hearing the Sree Guru was kind to place his right palm on his head, and instantly he had knowledge of Vedas, Shastras, mantras, etc. By the touch of the philosopher's stone, iron is changed into gold. Similarly, the Brahmin became learned. Sree Guru Sri Guru again asked him to go to his Guru. The Brahmin went to his Guru. Sri Guru then went to Bhubaneswari near Bhilavadi and stayed under an Odambar tree on the bank of Krishna secretly. Chapter number 16 is completed. Next will be chapter number 17. Chapter 17. A dull Brahmin boy becomes learned. Sri Guru observed Chaturmas living under the Odambar tree near Bhubaneswari secretly. Still his name and fame spread in all the quarters. Namdharak, why Sri Guru lived secretly? Why did he observe Anushthan and asked for alms? Siddha, Sri Shankar and Sree Guru Dattatreya like to bag alms. Sri Guru roamed through holy places for protecting his devotees. People came to him and harassed him for trifles, and hence he lived secretly. But though the kasturi is hidden, its fragrance cannot be hidden. Similarly, brightness of Sri Guru could not be hidden. There lived at Kavir a learned Brahmin who knew the Vedas. He had a dull, foolish son. His parents died in his childhood. When he was 7, his thread ceremony was celebrated, but he could not do Sandhya and recite Gayatri Mantra. Local Brahmins abused him, saying, "Your father knew Vedas and Shastras, but you have spoiled his name. Your life is worthless. Chintamani is best among the beads, so is the knowledge for a person. A man is honored for his knowledge. A king is respected by his people, but even a king respects learned persons as knowledge is wealth." The boy requested them to suggest means for his improvement. The Brahmins said, "You will have knowledge in the next birth. You should beg for your maintenance in this life." The boy, being dejected, went to a forest. He was thinking of giving up his life. In the evening he reached Bhilavadi. He took darshan of Bhuvneshwari and sat at the door of the temple. Next morning he cut his tongue and placed it at the feet of the goddess and said, "If you do not be kind with me, I shall even offer my head at your feet." The night he had a dream in which Devi appeared before him and said, "O Brahmachari, why are you getting angry with me? There is an avtarik Purusha sitting under an odumber tree on the bank of the Krishna. Go to him, he will fulfill your desires." He woke up and at once ran and crossed the river. He rolled at the Guru's feet and started praising him. Guru was pleased with him, blessed him and put his hand on his head as Vradhasta. At once the boy got knowledge and enlightenment. He also got his tongue back. If a crow has a dip in the Mansa Sarovar, it will become a Hansa Sman. So also he who touches Guru's feet will acquire all knowledge. Guru is almighty. His glory needs to be sung. Chapter number 17 is completed. Next will be chapter number 18. Chapter 18. A poor Brahmin gets wealth. Varna Sangam is known as Kansi in the south. Sri Guru came here from Bilavadi and stayed near Panch Ganga Sangam for 12 years. Shiva, Bhadra, Bhogavati, Kumbhi and Saraswati are the 5 rivers. This is a famous holy place like Kansi and Parayag. There is a temple of Amreshwar and an Odambar tree as a kalpatru. 64 yoginis lived here. There are 8 holy places in the neighborhood. They are Shukla Tirath, Pap Vinasi, Kanya Tirath, Siddha Vrad, Prayag Tirath, Shakti Tirath, Amar Tirath and Koti Tirath. Sri Guru lived under the Odambar tree here. He would go to Amarpur for alms. In Amarpur lived a Brahmin knowing Vedas. He had a devoted wife. He had a same creeper at his door. When he could not get sufficient corn, he would live on the boiled seams. He adored Sree Guru with devotion. He invited Sree Guru for alms one day. After taking the alms, Sree Guru blessed him, saying that his poverty was wiped off. While leaving the premises, Sree Guru cut the root of the same creeper. Seeing this, the Brahmin's wife bitterly saying, "Our means of livelihood are lost." The Brahmin tried to console her, saying, "There must be some good intention of Sri Guru in cutting the root of the same. It is our good fortune that Sri Guru is cutting came to us for alms. Do not blame Sri Guru who blessed us. He will protect us." The Brahmin took away the leaves of the creeper from the courtyard, and while digging to take off the root of the creeper, he found a vessel full of coins. He told this to his wife, who was much pleased and now repented for blaming Sri Guru. Both then went to Sri Guru and worshipped him with devotion and reported what had occurred. Sri Guru said, "Do not tell this to anybody, else the wealth will be destroyed. You shall live happily with your sons and grandsons." Chapter number 18 is completed. Chapter number 19, Greatness of Odambar. Ganganuj's poverty wiped off. Namdharak. Leaving other holy trees, why Sri Guru lived under the Odambar tree. Greatness of Aswatha is described even in the Vedas. Why then he preferred Odambar? Siddha. Sri Vishnu took Narsim avatar to kill the demon Hiranyakashipu. He tore the belly of the demon by his nails, took out the intestines and put them around his neck as a wreath. Narsimha's nails were filled with strong poison and so caused great heat in his body. Sri Lakshmi took Odambar fruits and thrust Narsimha's nails in them. The poison and the heat of the body subsided, and Lakshmi and Narsimha were pleased. So they blessed the Odambar tree. "You shall always bear fruits, and people will worship you as the Kalpatru. Strong poisons will be subsided even by your sight, and sterile women will get issues if they worship you with devotion." Odambar is a Kalpatru in Kali Yuga, and Sri Guru lived under it. Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh live here in the form of Sri Dattatreya. When Sri Guru lived here, 64 yoginis used to come to him at midday and take Sri Guru to their places under the waters of the river, worshipped and offered him delicious food, and Sri Guru would return to his place under the Odambar. Brahmins wondered how this sannyasi lived along under the Odambar, as he did not go in the town to anybody for alms. Some Brahmins kept a watch, but at midday they got frightened and so they gave up the idea. Ganganus was a farmer who had his field at the riverside. At midday he saw that 64 yogins came out of the river, bowed to Sri Guru and took him to the river. A passage was created for him by the bifurcation of the river water. After some time Sri Guru returned by the same passage. Next day Gaganus also followed Sri Guru when he was being taken by the yogins. He saw that there was a nice place with buildings of precious stones, and there was a high and well decorated throne. Sri Guru was seated on the throne. He was duly worshipped, had arti, and was Sri Guru saw Gagnus. Sri Guru asked him, "How did you come here?" He replied, "I came here to see thy holy self." Saying so, he bowed to Sri Guru, who said to him, Your miseries are wiped off, your desires will be fulfilled. Do not disclose to anyone whatever you have seen here, else you will lose all instantly. Then Sree Guru came to the Odamar with him. Gagnus came to his fields and found a treasure. He got knowledge also. He served Sree Guru with his wife and children with more devotion thereafter. On Om Magh Purnima, Gagnu said to Sri Guru, it is said that bath at Kasi and Prayag is very virtuous. How can this be possible for me? Sri Guru said, Pancha Ganga Sangam is like Prayag, Jugul is Kasi, and Kolhapur is like Gaya. If you wish to see Kasi Prayag, I shall show it to you. Sri Guru was sitting on a tiger skin. He asked Gaganuj to shut his eyes and to hold the hind part of the skin firmly, and they instantly reached Prayag in the morning. After having bath, they went to Kasi at midday. They had darshan of Kasi Visveswar and went to Gaya in the afternoon. They returned to Odamar by the same evening. Sri Guru now thought of leaving the place. 64 yoginis requested him, why are you leaving us? All our miseries are wiped off when we see you. Sri Guru smiled and said, I am always at this Odambar. You live here happily. Amarpur is also my dwelling place. Amarpur is also my dwelling place. Those who worship you, this Odamar and the Padukas here, all their desires will be fulfilled and they will get your Purusharthas. One who takes bath at Papa Vinashi, Kanya and Siddha Tirthas worships the Odambar and these Padukas for 7 days, even if his wife is 60 years old and sterile. If one recites a mantra under this Odamar with a pure mind, it will be a great virtue. 1 lakh rounds of this tree will wipe off leprosy and one's body would be bright as gold. Such is the significance of this place. Seeing this, Sri Guru came to Gangapur on the bank of Bhima. Chapter number 19 is completed. Chapter number 20. A Brahmani relieved from Brahmhatya and gets issues. Gangadhar, a Vedic Brahmin, lived at Shirol. His wife was devoted and good-natured, but the misery was that she had no children. She got issues, but they all died after birth in the childhood. She got issues, but they all died after birth in the childhood. She observed fasts and vartas, but they bore no fruit. Some Brahmins said this is due to the sin of the previous birth. Those who commit abortions become sterile. Those who kill a cow or a horse and take others' wealth have no issues in the next birth. One Brahmin told her, you took some money from a Brahmin of Shaunak Gotra. He asked you to pay the money many times and at last he committed suicide. His spirit does not allow your issues to live. The Brahmin was very sorry to know this. She requested the Brahmin to suggest means to get relief from the spirit trouble. The Brahmin said after the death of the Brahmin, his death rituals were not performed. You go to the bank of Krishna, observe fast for 1 month, bathe in the Papavinashi and worship Odambar for 7 days. Do Abhishekam to Sri Guru, bathe in the Kamya Tirath and give rupees 100 to a Brahmin of Shaunak Godra and observe the death rituals of the Brahmin. Then Sri Guru will protect you. The Brahmin said to her, Sri Guru lives at the Odambar. He protects his devotees from all the miseries. You spend money as per your circumstances on the advice of Sri Guru. The Brahmani went to the place bathing in the Papa Vinasi, she took rounds of the Odambar, bathing in the Kamya Tirath. She worshipped Sree Guru and observed fast. After 3 days, the son of Gotra Brahmin came in her dream and began to thrash her. She took shelter of the Odambar tree. Sree Guru appeared and asked the Brahmin why he was beating the Brahmini. Hearing what the Brahmin told, Sree Guru said, "If you harass my devotee, I shall punish you. Accept whatever this Brahmini offers to you and leave her. Mind if you again harass her." The Brahmin's spirit bowed to Sree Guru and said, "It is my good fortune that I could see you. I shall act as per your order. Kindly liberate me." Sree Guru told the Brahmini, "You give the money you have in charity in the name of the Brahmin's spirit." Sree Guru told the spirit, "After the rituals of 10 days you shall be free from this life." When the Brahmini had worshipped the Odambar for 7 days, Sree Guru came in her dream and said, "All your sins are wiped off. You will now have sons and daughters who will have long life." She acted as asked by Sree Guru for 10 days. Her sin of Brahmhatya was wiped off and the spirit of Brahmin was liberated from the spirit life. On the last day, Guru appeared in her dream and placed 2 coconuts in her sari and asked her to do the last function Udyapan of her Varta. The Brahmin couple worshipped Sree Guru with devotion. Sree Guru appeared before them. The Brahmin got 2 sons in course of time. Third ceremony of the first son was fully celebrated. Chot, shaving the hair on the head. Ceremony of the second was to be performed, but the boy fell sick due to tetanus and died on the third day after great suffering. The parents began to weep in grief. The Brahmani said, "Sree Guru, you are the donor of true and real things. I believed in your words. How did this happen? Due to the sin of Brahmhatya, I took your shelter. Due to the fear of a tiger, a cow goes to a Muslim and he kills the cow. Similar has been my case." Next morning, the Brahmins of the place tried to console her and demanded the corpse of the boy for funeral, but she held the corpse of her son at bosom and refused to give it and said, "Burn me also with this corpse." The Brahmani said, "Does mother give her life with that of a son? How foolish you are! Besides, to commit suicide is a great sin." It was afternoon, but she did not part with the corpse. In the meantime, a sannyasi came there and began to advise her. The dead child became alive. The sannyasi said, "You are mourning in vain. He who has come to birth in this world has to die. How long can last the foam or a bubble in the water? This body is made of 5 principles, and when they are separated, the body also perishes. Sattva, Rajas and Tamas are the 3 qualities of those principles. Sattva begets God, Rajas begets human being, and Tamas begets demon. Man does good and bad actions, and accordingly he gets enjoyment or suffering in the next birth. Being deluded by affection and greed, men have being deluded by affection and greed, men have pleasures or miseries. They are dependent on the actions of the previous birth. Even gods and rishis have to suffer. Only is not grieved at death. When a female is pregnant in the beginning, the fetus has no shape, but it develops and comes to birth, and it is therefore evident that it will perish one day. A body is like a bubble in the water. Some die in childhood, some in youth, and some in old age as per actions of the past life. But due to affection, it is said that she is the mother, he is the father, son, wife, friend, and so on. The body appears to be clean, but it is full of flesh, blood, urine, filth, etc. As soon as one comes to birth, one's enjoyment and suffering are destined. No one has won victory over death. One sees treasure in dream, but of what use can it be in practical life? You had many lives in different yonis, that is species, for example, animals, birds, worms, human beings, etc. But how many of these can you recollect? If you had been a human being, can you tell me whose wife or daughter you had been? If you cannot know this, why do you mourn, saying, "My son"? You give the corpse to the Brahmins for funeral. Hearing the advice of the sannyasi, the Brahmani said, "You have advised me, but I am not satisfied. And if the fate is unchangeable, why one should adore God? If iron is not transformed into gold by the touch of Paris, philosopher Paris, philosopher's stone, what is its significance? Being unfortunate, I adored Sree Guru. If one has fever, one goes to a physician and seeks relief by his medicine. Sri Narsimha Saraswati is the incarnation of three Murti, three gods. He blessed us by giving us sons with long lives. How can it be untrue in the circumstances why this calamity should befall me? Therefore, I have decided to give up my life. Hearing her decision, the sannyasi said, "Sri Guru has blessed you to have sons having long lives, and still your son has died. Then you should better go to the place of Odambar with your dead child." Being encouraged in this fashion, she tied the body of her son at her back and came to Odambar. She dashed her head on the padukas and began to mourn. As the night was approaching, the Brahmins again asked for the dead body, but she refused to give. The Brahmins said, "The body will emanate foul odor tomorrow, and then she will have to give it." Saying this, they went home. Only the parents remained there. Later on, after midnight, the parents felt drowsy and got a nap due to exertion. In her dream, she saw a person with vibhuti marks on the body, a wreath of Rudraksha around the neck, a trishul in the hand, and a tiger skin on the body. He said to her, "Why are you blaming me and mourning? What ails yours? What ails your son?" Saying so, he applied bhasma or vibhuti to the forehead of the son, opened his mouth and blew air into it by his mouth. Thus oxygen was infused in his body. The result was that the boy began to move his limbs and came to life. At first sight, she was frightened. She thought that one sees in one's dream whatever is in one's mind, but as she awoke, she found that the boy was making movement and his body was warm. At first, she placed the boy away out of fear, but the boy sat and asked for something to eat as he was hungry. She took him to her breast. Milk came out profusely from the paps. Then she gave up fear and was delighted. She aroused her husband, both bowed to the padukas of Sri Guru and prayed, "Kindly forgive us for our harsh words." They took rounds of the tree and went for bath. After bath, they washed the blood on the padukas and worshipped them with great devotion. By this time it was morning. The Brahmins came there again for the funeral, but they were wonderstruck to see the child alive. All were glad to see this miracle and praised the greatness of Sree Guru. Chapter number 20 is completed.